during the 1933 General Assembly that actually took place, I believe, in early of 1934. They passed and initiated Iowa's first corporate income tax, individual income tax, and the state sales tax. A bunch of businesses and business leaders, as well as organizations, and maybe even some former legislators, noticed one of the things missing from that discussion was that there was not a business that their sole purpose was to be concentrating and being a voice for Iowa businesses on tax policy. That is the sole purpose of why the Iowa Taxpayers Association was formed that following year in 1935.
You can come from anywhere and make a difference to businesses in the state. I'm in Albia, Iowa, just this little town of 3,500 people. But one of the guys that started the Iowa Taxpayers Association in 1935, he was from Albia. And I thought, wow, we're still carrying on the great work that he thought of from Albia, Iowa. The value that the membership in ITA provides is just enormous. We have so many members across so many different industries, and I was fortunate enough to be in the manufacturers group. And it was a pretty strong group. We even got together and had monthly calls and, tried to dig down even deeper into some of the details. Some of the tax committee, even the sales tax committee, they were on special committees with the Department of Revenue. I know we did one on, consumables, where you're working with the department with different members in a certain, area of industry. And I just think that that provides member, value for any of the members that were. It just makes such a difference for business and to be involved, and it gives you a seat at the table. Like working with the legislative body, they both have varied experiences, and for some reason, they're not like us. They're not just totally interested in tax and tax policies and all those things. And so they do have their specialties. And so I think we do a primary role in educating those legislators. And I think the fact that we're not a PAC, we're not out there, picking winners and losers, but just trying to find the best policy forward for our membership. But there's so many memories as I was board chair or even going through the chairs. And I think the memory that I think about the most is just all of the relationships that I made that were permanent relationships that carried on even after I was, past board chair.
Biggest win out of my time as chair was hiring Tom Sands. That was by far the thing that kept on giving for a few years, and as I was going through it, made my life a lot easier, and it was one of the great things did for the organization. I think ITA has a lot of roles in it, but I think it's more of, it brings the tax community together with the Iowa legislature and the Iowa Department of Revenue. So hopefully in the end, we have a good tax policy. I think sometimes we bring a reality into the tax conversation.
When I started and got involved in ITA, one of the big issues that we talked a lot about was just giving the legislature some things to think about that went along with good tax policy. And so we put together a list of points that they should think about when they were being, accountable government. And that's really become kind of a roadmap for legislators. They don't do it perfectly, but they do think about it. And that's kind of what the goal was. Things like don't use one-time money for ongoing expenses. And so, they actually do really, even though they don't do it perfectly, they do actually always think about it and consider it. And so that was one thing that the Taxpayers Associations that did that was, I thought, great.
Iowa Taxpayers Association is the organization that focuses on Iowa tax policy and on Iowa tax policy for Iowa businesses. And ITA's role is really to ensure that the policies that are put in place by the legislature and by the governor's office are the correct procedures to make sure that Iowa businesses can thrive in not only in Iowa, but in the national markets and in international markets. A special moment that I remember is the awarding of the Linda S. Weindrich Award to Mike Rubino, who was a longtime member of ITA. Meeting his wife, being able to celebrate his years of work on behalf of ITA in a number of committees and things like that. The other thing I would say is just the experience of working closely with Tom Sands and being able to spend time with him.
congratulations to you and everybody at ITA. 90 years is a big deal, so congratulations on that. The best memory relates to the people that are involved in ITA. Really terrific people up and down the board and the membership, and it was fun to work with those folks. I learned a ton, and I was grateful that they were around to help our state really come up with the best policy. One memory I'd share is there was an issue involving the definition of tangible and intangible personal property related to taxation. I don't remember any more of the specifics, but if you can imagine, it was highly technical. And the board considered this issue and came up with a policy, and everybody was on board except for one person. And that person was Dwayne Cease, who was the director of tax at then Pioneer Hybrid Company. And over the course of a meeting, Dwayne totally flipped everybody. It was kind of a 12 angry men situation, totally flipped them over to his point of view, which was the right point of view. And that was a lot of fun to witness and to be a part of. ITA provides really important value to the bottom line of every member company. Tax policy is not one of those things that's intangible. It's very much substantial, the impact it can have on a company. And thanks to ITA, companies save literally now, and I know the difference between literally and figuratively, literally millions of dollars. ITA really plays a key role. It is ITA that brings together the technical experts that can deal with a policy issue, that know how it impacts real world businesses. ITA leads the way on tax policy. They're able to find out before they pass the bill what the impact will be, what the ramifications will be. And so that real world impact and that technical knowledge is a real key perspective for our state to have. And lastly, I'd say the fact that ITA is nonpartisan, doesn't have a PAC, doesn't support candidates, doesn't oppose candidates. Its only goal is to advocate for sound tax policy. That's a big deal.
Hi there, Iowa Taxpayers Association. Elliot Smith here, ITA president from 1999 to 2002. Want to just add my congratulations on recognizing 90 years of important, impactful business tax policy work here in the state of Iowa. I always enjoyed my time working with all the members and their business tax professionals up at the Capitol, whether it was crafting legislation with Ways and Means chairs, working on regulatory matters with Jerry Bear and his crowd at the Department of Revenue, or even on a national level with the IRS. While I was there, we had some legislative victories in venture capital legislation, getting that signed into law. Worked on the streamlined sales tax initiative on a national level. And heck, we even all survived somehow the Y2K event, if you remember that. So, again, congratulations on reflecting on 90 years of important work here for Iowa businesses and their employees. And also take time to look forward. There's another great 90 years ahead with solid leadership and good membership. ITA's got a lot of important policy work yet to do, and they'll get it done. It was an honor working for all of you, with all of you.
My big thing was I nuzzled up to a bunch of reporters back when people would report out of committee and would report in the Register, report on the news. And I always wanted to hear nonpartisan ITA said the following: make them say nonpartisan. It gave us some credence, that type of thing. Our big thing was post session, getting out and talking to members. I would put a lot of miles on the car. I'd rent a car and roam around and talk to members where they were at. I really enjoyed that part of it.
The Iowa Taxpayers Association provides a lot of value to its members and has for 90 years. The value of networking, coming together with tax professionals from around the state and those expertise from the nation for best practices, and also the advocacy and working together with other business organizations and corporations and small businesses alike at the Capitol to come up with policies that will positively impact the economy in Iowa. I have many memories, both as a member and as a staff person for the association. One of my fondest memories was really working with Tom Hobson, who was board chair. Tom is now passed, but he was with Rockwell Collins. And I'd always known Tom before from the advocacy realm, but it was really special to see how he supported me in my first role in a leadership position serving as president of the Taxpayers Association. And I miss Tom and his impact to the Taxpayers Association and to the state of Iowa every day.
ITA is just, they're the leader in this area as far as tax policy goes. And then they come to the table, they don't care if it's Democrat or Republican, it's just good, sound tax policy. And, I think the organization is the premier tax organization in the state of Iowa. If you look at all the research that the foundation side has done over the years, and then you look at what's been implemented in the last 4 or 5 years, and it's a remarkable run. And there's been some great presidents and CEOs over the years, and like Mike Ralston and Stacy Johnson and my old boss Tom Sands. It's just a fabulous organization. People know when they come there, you're going to get unbiased tax advocacy, and there's no spin there. They're just going to, hey, this is what Iowa needs to do to become competitive. This is how we should do it. And I think the organization for the last 90 years has done a great job of positioning themselves as the premier tax organization in the state. I think it was my first annual meeting. There was a young lady, she was in law school. I think she was up for the, I don't know which award, is one of the Weindrich Awards that they awarded for students. And we gave her $10,000, and I remember the smile on her face because I'm sure she had some law school debt that she had to pay off. So I know she was very appreciative. Her name is Kimberly Sievers, and I've seen that she's still been active in ITA over the years. So that was probably one of the first memories I had, and it was one of the great memories. And you could definitely tell we made an impact on her life.
One of the things that I've noticed when I was the president of the Iowa Taxpayers Association was the dedication that each of the members had in not just supporting the association, but their tax knowledge and their willingness to share that empowered me, that when I was speaking with the Ways and Means chairs or legislators at the Capitol, I not only could speak with authority, but they give me the knowledge that I could speak with experience, because I could say ITA members were affected this way, positively or negatively, for their perspective on tax changes. That is the strength of ITA, and it really empowered me to do that. And what I found was ITA has lots of members that are willing to share their time and their experiences for the sake of the organization.